you love, covering all things professional wrestling. A show by members of the Busted Open Nation. Welcome to the Nation's Corner. Here are your hosts, the Nation's Corner crew.
It's Saturday. You know what that means. Nation's Corner is back after a hiatus last week.
I heard you missed us. We're back.
Miss us? Yep. We are back. Back in the seats here. And with me, I have John in South Jersey and Mongrovian Mike. Debhausen. How are y'all?
What's happening?
He's very old, very evil.
Very old, very evil.
Very senile,
Yes.
very evil.
Surgically repaired.
Yes, surgically repaired.
Yes.
Had a little procedure done.
Had
So
go
congratulations
back
to
up
you.
on
I'll tell
the.
you what, man, you don't look forward to surgery, but, you know, Michael Jackson wasn't wrong with that fucking propofol, man.
Damn.
In moderation, of course.
Well,
In
you know,
moderation.
as usual, people overdo it, you know. But
Yeah.
I wouldn't
Right.
mind having an anesthesiologist in the family.
Oh my God. Shout out to everyone in the chat. I see Neil, Seth, John Bay, Dirty's out there. Hassan, happy birthday to your niece.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, so shout out to everyone in the chat. Make sure you like and subscribe and share so more people can find us. We're gonna talk some wrestling. Want to talk some wrestling? R-A-S-S-L.
Is that like it? That's wrestling.
That's wrestling. Yes. So first, I want to give a shout out to some indie wrestling that's been going on. Tonight is the ACW up in Poughkeepsie at the Mid-Hudson Civic Center.
It is actually on right now. Trailer Plus.
On right now. Last night we had GCW Guilty Conscious, which was a phenomenal show.
From
and
the world
tonight
famous
as
Park
well-
in Chicago.
Yes.
Yes, and there's Sauget, Illinois.
Sauget, Illinois tonight for GCW Gateway to Death. Tomorrow night they are in West Des Moines, Iowa for GCW Ring of Dreams. And that's just the shows that I pay attention to. There are so much more out there.
And the Ring of
you
Dreams
pay more
is-
attention than I do. So what else is out there that you've been looking at?
ACW is running right now. God, trying to keep up with it all is kind of exhausting. Literally everybody is running. It's nice weather finally in the Northeast.
Oh, yeah.
So everybody is taking advantage of it. Folks, if you're not, of course, taking part and being a part of the independent wrestling scene, you're wrong. And you need to fix that. Post haste.
You need to.
Listen,
Yes.
we can all bitch and moan till we're blue in the face about TKO and ticket prices and having to sell body parts and small children to afford to go to shows. Indie wrestling, folks, for reasonable.
Support them.
Reasonable. Even if it's you and a friend, you and your family, you want to take the kids. The access you have, the up close and personal of an indie show, you will get nowhere else for the price you get it. For less than the cost of the night, the movies and dinner, you can go to an indie show and see people who are going to be stars one day. Maybe not. But I defy you to find me a better time to spend 2 to 2.5 hours on a weekend night for the amount of money you pay.
Yeah.
I'll wait.
And just in the time, you know, I only became aware of the indie scene kind of just during COVID. And just in that time that I've been, you know, getting to know people, watching different promotions, going to indie shows, like I've seen people that, you know, we see their first handful of matches, or we've had people on this show years ago that we were their first interview. And now they're making a name for themselves, or some of them are on TV. And it is really fun and awesome to see the progression of the indie wrestlers. If you go often, if you kind of follow the indie scene, even just in your area, you can see the progression. You can see somebody as they're just starting out and training and learning. You can see how they grow over, just a few years, and then you get to be proud of them when they get signed to a TV company.
Deb, I just wanna jump in on that thought, talking about indie wrestling. It just, I mean, go to those shows, support these people, and we're gonna start reaching out again in
Yeah, we've been slacking on some interviews.
This year, we're going to start reaching out. So, the reason is not that we can't get people. It's when we started during the pandemic, nobody was doing shit on Saturdays. So on a Saturday night, we are
now everybody's booked.
We're weekend warriors. We're not like these official podcasters that want to get 100,000 views.
Yeah, we don't do this full time.
We're weekend warriors. We're respectful, and we love the talent, and we love the business of wrestling. Well, maybe not the business side, but we love wrestling.
Yeah,
we love the wrestling business. We support indie wrestlers, and that's what you do. So we will be reaching out to interview more people out there. In the past, you can go on our web, on our page, and go back and see some of our interviews with people that are,
And to be honest, folks,
bigger things.
Don't take our word for it. Take the word of AK9K. If I can get it on camera.
Turn it. Where is it?
There it is.
Oh, yes. It says support independent wrestling.
That's right.
Yes. So, speaking of, that is kind of the perfect segue to the first topic that I wanted to really get into for this week in wrestling. This is definitely something that kind of got my attention just from hearing the chatter and everybody talking about it. Even though it's a show that I, don't tune into, this guy made a splash, and I'm talking about Will Cruz, now Mason Rook, in NXT. And I know I said to you guys on Zoom last night or the night before, to me, just from, my observation, kind of from the outside looking in, when new people, especially people from the indies, show up on a wrestling show, oftentimes there's people that have the criticism of they need to show video packages or vignettes before this person makes their debut. You need to let the audience know who they are and their history. We need to be familiar with this person before we see them on screen. There's often that criticism in all companies. It goes, all the time.
Right.
But there's often that people kind of harp on that they want to see video packages and vignettes so that the audience is familiar with the person before their actual debut. Now, Will Cruz showed up on NXT, and unless you are a person that really follows the British Indies, I don't think you had any idea who this guy is.
Yes.
Most of us had never heard of him before last week when he made his debut on NXT.
Right.
And I said this to you guys on Zoom. He shows up on NXT. Nobody knows who the fuck he is. 1 week from then, he makes his next appearance on NXT, and the whole crowd is chanting his catchphrase, his
He's
song.
Big. He's bad.
He'll body slam your dad.
So in 1 week, everybody in the wrestling community went from, I don't know who the fuck this guy is, to chanting his catchphrase without there being any video packages or vignettes shown about him. Because why? Because people were like, oh my God, who's this guy? I have to find out. And then they went on the freaking internet and found out.
And let's just make a point that the NXT crowd, that main crowd, I don't know how many of them, and I'm sure Yeah, I'm sure it's,
Yes.
I'm sure it fluctuates, but there's a main core audience there that goes there
Yes.
every week.
Right.
So those people know, because those people are doing all the
Yeah.
independent shows just like that. They're not going to, So
But it's
you
the
got that
perfect
going.
example of
And
that.
Florida is such a
It's
great
not.
place to get independent
It's not
wrestling.
completely necessary to do a bunch of vignettes and video packages to introduce a new character, because
Yeah.
everybody has a phone in their pocket.
But not only that,
People want to
sometimes
say that a very, very small percentage of wrestling fans are on the internet or on social media. No, everybody has social media. My 80-year-old grandma has social media. Everybody can look up and say, Google it, go on whatever social media app you use,
Deb,
type
what
in
were
the
we
guy's
talking
name,
about
watch some
before?
clips,
Social
see his
media
catchphrase.
Yeah. What we were talking about before, me and you. Social media is the new public town square. Like it or not, that's it. It's like when you go to New York City in the middle of Times Square, if you don't want to hear the black Israelites yelling at you, don't go to that corner. If you don't, you know what I mean? It's just like everywhere you go. If you don't want this, but that's what it is. It's the new town square. So you're going to hear stuff you disagree with, stuff you don't. Do people have to be assholes?
Well, there's going to be that. But,
as Kit Wilson says, people are toxic.
Right. But he's cursed, so we don't talk about him.
He's not cursed.
Don't tell me the curse.
He's a good rapper, too, man. He gave Little Yachty a run for his money the other day.
But it's an excellent point, because you have Mason Rook, Will Cruz. Also, you had kind of the in-ring debut of another international star that a lot of people knew who they were. Now, granted, WWE fans, for the most part, still live in the bubble, but Evil showing up with a new name in NXT and a little bit of presentation of that guy, sure, there are a lot of us that are New Japan fans and are very familiar with him. And again, but yeah, and again, although I don't know what Booker calls it, but then again, I don't really trust Booker's pronunciation on many things.
I usually have to sound down.
Susumu said Naraku.
Naraku.
So I'll go with him.
Okay. But here was a brand new character. Now, not quite the same as Mason Rook, but again, people knew within a week, again, that all they did was that simple walkout 2 weeks ago where he handed Tony D, the NXT champion, a t-shirt, which I'm sure is available on shopnxt.com. And that was it. No words, no nothing. Then he comes back with an in-ring and a little bit of a promo at the end, and you know exactly who this guy is, what he's about, and everything. And in the meanwhile, the fans were excited because obviously they got it on the internet. They Googled. They looked at, saw that New Japan Wrestling, which has dozens of clips on YouTube. Yeah. And they knew exactly this whole narrative that people don't exist until they arrive at WWE, at AEW, is just so false now. Nobody is in the bubble, especially in this age where everything is literally at our fingertips. And I do mean everything.
Yeah.
This whole thing that, we have to. So I don't agree. Granted, if you're a company looking to establish someone as a new character, perfect example, Mariah May transitioned to Blake Monroe for WWE and NXT.
Yeah.
It made sense to have some little vignettes because they want to establish this as a new character and it's not Mariah May. So it's a different character. Yeah. So that made sense.
It's a case by case basis.
Absolutely.
Some people it makes sense to introduce their character, establish their character with some vignettes or video packages. And some people it makes more sense to just have them appear and then people go, "Oh my God, who's that?"
Yeah. Never discount the holy shit.
Like, remember the Zariah vignettes. with her, like coming to NXT.
Yeah, great. Just what we need, another big
Lizzie Rain,
Jack Dawsey chick.
There's another one we got to give a shout out to. Lizzie Rain is like just like
blown up instantly.
Blown up instantly. And what do I tell you guys, man? Give us a little, give the graybeards a little bit of heavy metal. The kids still love heavy metal, Deb. When you're not listening to Taylor Swift, you're listening to some metal. You know what I mean? So, it's
Depends
not
on my
all
mood.
What? Deb loves his favorite hair band, Saxon.
Don't get it started on that.
No, I can't bust a gut. I just got it fixed.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, I wanted to mention Will Cruz because it was definitely a big topic this week that a lot of people were talking about, and I think the dude made a good splash and kind of made a statement.
Yeah, man, my boys 3 bills,
yeah, literally
3 bills plus and hit moonsaults like effortlessly.
You know what? To your point too. It was a lot of debuts. People coming up from LFG.
Sure.
People new coming in. The other English guy with the long blonde hair. I can't. His name slips my mind. But you have Lizzie. You have Lizzie coming in, and it's just it's really and people were worried. There was a time where you're worried because at any given moment, like we know. Bam! It doesn't matter. You're in the middle of the story. No, we want the big guy up.
Right.
Well, NXT is an ever evolving roster,
exactly.
And NXT feels like every 18 to 24 months there's kind of a reset. The NXT show, every 18 to 24 months there's going to be kind of a shift in the roster as a whole, the feel of the show. Now they lost a whole ton of people to the main roster, but they now have a whole ton of new people coming in.
Right.
So I know you just catch up on the NXT stuff, but John, watching it, I don't. How do you feel? I feel they did not skip a beat because I think they just had. They had plan B like ready to pop, and not only popped, it exploded. I mean, we had five or six people,
and it's all the cycle. And I'm gonna get on my soapbox for a mini rant this week because this week's GFY, of course, goes to the same guy who goes to every week, fucking Jonathan Coachman. Fuck you, coach. You out of touch fucking dolt. Of course they have new people at NXT every month. That's the whole idea. It's just developmental.
He could have come with the Wink team.
Don't get on every week saying, they have no stars. Well, no shit. They have to build them. And how do you build them? When a whole bunch of people and they clear out the rosters and they all get called up, that gives the opportunity for a fresh new crop, for people to get their chance, to get their spotlight, for us to get to know where they are. Why? Because we know in as little as 12 months to 24 months, they're going to be up on the main roster. It's how the process works, you fucking idiot. Don't say it's dead. I don't know who anybody is. Because you don't watch the product, you fucking dope. You out of touch asshole.
We just want to shout out belated birthday wishes to Big Mac.
Yes. Yes, now that John's rant is over, happy birthday to Mac Davis in the chat.
Thanks for that rant, though, John.
Awesome.
Because
it drives me crazy that all these so-called experts know how. Folks, we've been dealing with for 15 years. We've almost had 15 years almost now. NXT has been around, and it's been the same through all the iterations. It's developmental. It's where the new not the main roster stars today. The main roster starts 3 years, 5 years from now.
John, even when we were shitting on the 2.0, it still had the potential. You know, even in
But
2.0,
that had nothing to do with the talent on the show.
Exactly,
No,
because even in 2.0, you got Tiffany Stratton, you got Braun Breaker. That's all. That's all I need to say right there.
Yeah.
You got more than that, but that's all you need to say right there.
Right, as
Kelani
bad
Jordan.
as bad as 2.0 was, and the wrestling was still fantastic. It was just dumb, but my whole point is trust the process. Look at the main roster now. Look at the main roster over the last 5 years.
Patience.
And how many people have started in NXT as a nobody, just coming in, green as goose shit. And now they're, other than Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns, almost everybody on that roster came from NXT. And they're constantly moving people along. We have a whole fresh new crop of people on the main roster, new stories, new people for matchups. And that just the process always continues as that everybody cycles up, the new group comes in, and it just rinse and repeat.
They've spent a lot of years fine crafting their process and their system, and it works for them. Yeah. It definitely, absolutely works for them. It's not going to work for everybody. There are some wrestlers out there that didn't necessarily thrive in that system, and they thrive in other systems, and that's perfectly okay. Different,
Kenny Omega started
people,
there, right?
Right.
Well, and conversely, you have stars that were in other places and organizations that came to NXT or came through NXT and also thrived as well.
And so even differently, you've had stars that got fired from WWE, go to TNA, then they come back and they're on WWE again. So it's you don't burn bridges unless you got extra matches and you don't give a fuck. But
if you're doing good business, no matter what,
I mean, look, how many times do we have to point out what the successor of people that went? We could just go right now. Andrade El Idolo.
Mm-hmm.
How successful is he doing right now?
And
he doesn't even have he doesn't even have a belt. So how you know? How you know?
How you know?
How you know? Hey.
How you know?
How you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I want to point out.
And then on the other side, though, too, Danhausen. Danhausen.
Yes.
Deb, I told you last night when we were talking on Zoom, right? I went into the store and the girl saw me with my Danhausen hoodie.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, hey, what's up? Yeah. Oh, I like your Danhausen. I'm like, oh, do you know him? And she goes, I said, did you know him before WWE? No, I just, he's new and now he's great. And then I just told her the whole story of Danhausen on YouTube and how, but this is the point though. Some places it's not, oh, AEW sucks. Sometimes some people don't do. Look at Bear.
People have different personalities.
And now look at Bear. Our friend Bear is like, oh my God.
Oh, you mean this guy?
Different personalities and different characters will thrive in different settings.
I was gonna wear my Bear shirt today too, and I'm glad.
Oh, that's funny though. All right, I do want to point out Steve's comment there. He said, "I feel as though NXT will be building a long-term roster. This was probably the biggest purge to the main roster, which is great for the talent, but many won't get stories." So I do want to touch on, that is one of the things that I fear with the trend that WWE under TKO is going. Is, we're seeing them trimming the roster of, people that may not necessarily be being used and even people who are being used. We've seen lots of reports about them asking to restructure contracts, asking people to take half as much money because they're working half as many dates. And there's been an obvious shift in the product itself and the way that the corporation is doing business. I was listening to Talk and Shop this week with the Good Brothers, and they were saying, they feel like maybe TKO is just doing a market correction Like, yes, we don't do house shows anymore. I know they announced a handful for this summer, but by and large, you don't do house shows anymore. You're working half as many dates. We think you should be paid half as much. And there's maybe just a shift going on in the business and the direction of the company, and that maybe going forward, it's not going to look like the WWE that we've known for many years. I also feel like one of the issues with having so few matches on shows is, the major storylines are what's going to get the focal point. So on a weekly show, you might see segments involving certain wrestlers, or, even see some matches involving certain wrestlers. But then every month when the PLE comes, only the main stars are on the PLE because there's only 4 or 5 matches. So, with the roster that they have, that's going to end up leaving a lot of people out, because any mid-card or lower card people are just not going to get the attention, because on a PLE, we only have 4 or 5 matches. Those are going to be the big championships and the main stars. Where does that leave everybody else if they're not having PLE matches? They're not really being featured on weekly shows all that much, because all the attention is just being focused to the main stars and the main storylines. So that's something that I just fear for, like, how things are going and how things are going to be long term. Are they going to trim the roster that much that it only leaves the main people that they want to focus on, and there's not going to be much of a mid card or lower card at all?
It's possible. I don't want to think that, because you're right. There's only so much time in a given show in a given week. And again, and it's not just a WWE problem per se. AEW doesn't run house shows.
There's a lot of talent out there, and not that many segments on TV.
And but you're talking about a finite amount of time. They're already saying that, even now SmackDown is going back to 2 hours. So,
well, they fired half the SmackDown roster, so that stands to reason.
Well, but that's but unfortunately, what we're looking at as fans, and we don't agree with it by and large, but it's what it is. TKO is a business. Therefore, they are running WWE like a business. They are looking at, bottom line, regardless of who the talent is,
yes,
or what, they're looking is, we have this amount of money to put on the show. In order to be profitable, to keep shareholders and everybody happy, we can only spend this money.
They're a modern day AOL Time Warner.
So to me, that's where, that's where I get, the word isn't frustrated. I don't know what the word is, because, obviously we all know this isn't just the WWE that's going this way. Every single thing in our lives has become more expensive because of corporations and corporate profits taking precedent over everything else. We live in a capitalist society, and the way things should go is a company makes a good product for a good value that customers like, and customers will be more than willing to pay for it.
Yep.
What we're seeing in everything in life is the companies are increasing the prices while simultaneously decreasing the quality. And then when customers get mad about it, the companies just say, well, I don't give a fuck what you want. You should pay the money anyway for it.
Right.
And we as consumers in a capitalist society have consumer power to decide, if I don't think the product is a good value anymore, I'm not going to pay for it.
Yeah, but also it's an entertainment thing too. So yes, it's in every aspect of everything in our lives. That private equity and corporations is destroying things because profit is the number one priority, and they don't care about the quality of the product.
Right.
Season tickets for any sports team, or all of that. what is someone that wants to buy Jets season tickets? Are the prices been going up for the past 60 years since they won a
What?
friggin'
How about the waiting list? The years-long waiting list you are just to get a chance to get a seat.
Yeah, that's what I mean,
Yeah.
though.
Yeah.
It's like it's not just wrestling. It's
Well,
everything.
even just simple things like
and
the fast
especially
food industry, the
entertainment and
retail
sports.
industry. People
Yeah.
stop shopping at stores or stop going to fast food or even chain restaurants because the quality has gone down while meanwhile the prices have gone up. So people stop going there. The companies end up going out of business and closing their doors. And what happens is you drive around any town and there's so much empty retail space. There's an empty Ruby Tuesdays just down the street from us that closed during COVID. But that's what happens, and it's especially accelerated when private equity gets involved.
Ruby Tuesday.
When consumers don't feel like they're getting a good product for a good value, they can decide to stop giving their time and money to the company if they don't feel like what they're getting is of the value that they are paying for.
And we discussed this before.
Or they get a VPN.
Oh yeah, that but that's a workaround. But you're absolutely right, Deb, and it goes back to something that I know I've discussed, and kind of my philosophy is, folks, vote with your wallet. If you like something, yes, you'll pay for it. But if you like, why am I spending this money?
Exactly, John. Let me ask you a question. When was the last time you went to a wrestling show?
Last week.
Last week. Okay, when was the last time you were at an AEW show?
Going on 3 years now.
When was the last time you were at a WWE show?
10, 12 years.
There you go. Because why? Because the prices, right?
Yeah. Because I don't want to listen. I'm already down body parts here. I don't want to sell any more to get into a WWE show.
Yeah, and it's not only that. Okay, is AEW is cheaper, but yet, Deb, if you had the time off, do you have the money? No, it's because it's expensive. So you're gonna watch it, of course.
Yeah, I mean,
you know what I mean. But
we pick and choose what shows we go to for sure. We definitely pick and choose. We go to indie shows more often now for sure.
That was the point I wanted to make.
Because I have to decide what I'm going to spend my money on, and plus I'm lazy and I don't want to leave the house.
Exactly, and that's what I mean, though. But like I said, but I mean, to the point I was trying to make, even Dirty in Texas, my buddy flies to here. He flies here to New York to see Creative Pro shows. John, you drive 3.5, 4 hours to come see a Victory Pro show. I drive 3 hours to Philly to go to Hallowed Ground to see a GCW show. So that's the point I'm making. Like we will go out of our way. And if like you said, WWE's doing house shows, but it still might be cost prohibitive.
They announced one of the shows on their house show lineup is for Allentown here.
I was able to buy Cody Rhodes' autograph picture 8x10 for $20 friggin'. Tell me,
I met Cody Rhodes for free in
Cody's
AEW.
autograph for $20 fucking now.
I saw Cody in Ring of Honor for $20 and got to shake his hand and a photo.
This is what I mean. And Deb, I
have a photo of Cody Rhodes stepping on the Dave LaGreca head.
Yes,
there you go. But the whole thing is,
he got a shout out. Dave said he was at the GCW show, and he said I'm in rough shape.
Oh yes, I heard that.
Yes. But
go ahead.
Again, it's vote with your wallet. People in general can't afford to go to a show. And we're talking about, just like say us in general. It's one, maybe two tickets, that you and Seth go. I usually go to shows alone. Very rarely do I have someone with me, but still, it's reasonable. You got a family. You got 3 kids that want to go see Cody Rhodes.
You only have 2 kids.
We could remortgage the house to pay for it for that one night then
Yeah.
and the whole thing is, my only hope is that enough of these people vote with their wallet and make
Right.
them change. And that's
And that's my
almost,
point. That's my point. And I know people probably get sick and tired of hearing me say it, but fuck it, I don't really care. Like Steve says here, consumers have the ability to boycott. If a majority of people do, that dictates the drop. You know, everybody can bitch and moan all they want about WWE ticket prices and the amount of ads and how TKO is destroying the product and blah, blah, blah. If you are still watching it and you are still spending the money, you are voting with your wallet and your viewing hours that you support the company.
But you
if
know
you
what?
don't want to support the company, then don't give them your viewing hours and don't give them your money, because as long as they are getting those things from you, they will not change.
But
they
the
will
viewing
not
hours
change unless it affects them.
The viewing hours doesn't really affect it, especially now if you have Netflix, you can watch it, or if you, you know what I mean. But
yeah,
in a way
it does. In a way, it does. But
like
it's still though. If you are choosing to still participate, that is you saying as a consumer that you support them as a business. So then that business will never change because they're still getting your support.
Yeah, I agree. And I agree they're getting less support. I believe that, you know, aside from certain things, you know, like I don't spend a ton of money on WWE products. I mean,
yeah,
the figures maybe, but I mean, I'm not going on.
Well, we're all going out and getting Danhausen
buying a whole shitload of stuff, and
yeah,
I'm not going to the live. I haven't been to the live shows in years because
that's the whole thing. But that's kind of the point, though, Mike.
Yeah.
What live shows are we going to? You're going to a Friday night or a Monday night, and then PLE. That's the only live events WWE has.
That's what
other than these, these handful of
those people are the ones really, because they really don't. I just don't. I don't get it.
And here's the whole thing. And again, here's consumerism. When you're used to having a certain amount of product, and then all of a sudden they take half of it away, people still want it. Now you create even more demand because you have half the product. So then people will come up with more to be able to see that product. Hence why we only have TV 2 nights a week and a PLE every month. And it's the only opportunity to see it live. So yeah, people will spend the stupid amount of money to go to a PLE or just to go to a SmackDown or a Raw.
And if they're still spending that stupid amount of money, they are voting with their dollars that they support the corporate decisions being made.
Right. So it's almost like a catch-22. It's a no-win.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Well, I think if we had a Facebook group, they would be going crazy right now because we're not talking about the shows.
Fuck them too. They're gonna go fuck themselves too. Neil and his fucking cronies.
I don't give a fuck.
I think we're having. Isn't this great discussion we're having tonight, though?
Mm-hmm.
Listen, okay, I am borderline perimenopausal, so my level of give a fuck has decreased, and my tolerance of bullshit has decreased.
Yeah,
so I really don't care what I say, and I don't care if people have a problem with it.
And that's your weekly PSA, especially you, John Bay.
That's me. Take me or leave me.
Yeah, but
don't like what I say. Block me, mute me. I don't give
everything. But we're all making kind of sensible, valid points here, and the problem is honestly, there's not a whole lot we individually or even as a group can do about it. Yes, we can stop watching a product, but 3 of us say no more. We're not watching anymore. They're not getting 1 more minute or cent of my time. We're still at the point where even if we're not, they got 300 other people that are and
Yeah.
paying more.
And not only that, maybe we watching it still because like when I'm watching it now, I'm like, I can't wait to see Danhausen. I want to see what they're gonna do with Ricky Saints.
Right.
We got Powerhouse Hobbs, Royce Keys now. They could change his music. They changed Stephanie Vacquer's music, which sucks.
Fuck CFO. Fuck that rebel.
No, just the generic sounding.
That's the thing is, I never say that all of WWE is terrible.
No. But I'm just saying
because
that's
they've
why
had a lot of really great stuff and continue to have. So everybody is talented, and I even said this before I even met y'all. Yeah. I even said when I stopped watching periodically, I even said that, man, I love a lot of the wrestlers on the show, but to me, the show just isn't interesting enough to dedicate my time to.
Sure.
It has nothing to do with the talent that's there. Absolutely
never
nothing.
does. Never does. What? That's the point.
That's that. But
even
that's
if I don't like what a storyline is doing, I still love or at least appreciate the talent that's in there.
Yeah.
Me and you constantly talk about Death Riders. I know you love John Moxley. He's the guy that, but him and John Cena were probably like the first one, right? Isn't that what you said? Like, you always.
I was not a John Cena fan.
Oh no, Moxley though. But you saw Dean Ambrose.
Dean
you
Ambrose,
were like immediately you loved him.
So when I first started watching with my friend Jake, like we watched on and off because at the time I was in my 20s and I was working in retail. So oftentimes I was at work while the show was on, but pretty much like I spent a lot of time hanging out at my friend Jake's house almost every day. And if we happened to be there, if I happened to be at his house while the show was on, we watched it basically. We made fun of him incessantly for being an adult John Cena fan. We made fun of him hardcore.
Did he wear jorts?
Yeah.
Did he wear the wristbands and he wasn't even running or playing?
No, he had the t-shirts. He had the t-shirts. Oh. But no, like and for quite a while, I wasn't really like, I would watch, and I would only get into certain things here and there. He used to make fun of me a lot because I would just sit there on my phone because I was bored. But Dean Ambrose I'd have to research and find out which came first. But I bought the
Shield, right?
I bought the Dean Ambrose Asylum shirt. And I also bought the CM Punk Best in the World shirt, the gray one with like the circular logo. I can't remember which came first, but for many years, those were the only two wrestling shirts that I had until COVID. But yeah, Dean Ambrose was one of the first ones that I really felt like I was a fan of this guy. I really liked this guy. And the Shield, like, I don't even think I was watching at the time when the Shield debuted. I was out of it for a few months at that point, and then I remember Jake telling me like, "Oh, hey, the Shield is really awesome. You got to watch again." So then I started watching again after that. But yeah, I mean, I thought Dean Ambrose was awesome, and I had absolutely no knowledge of his prior career before he came to WWE. I didn't even watch NXT at the time, so it was really only after the Shield debuted on the main roster that I was seeing him. And then him coming to AEW was huge, and I stand by what I said on Twitter the other day. I think John Moxley and AEW blows Dean Ambrose out of the water. Like,
oh no,
oh yeah,
he's been in AEW for 7 years now, and in that time, he's had a way bigger career than anything he did in WWE. As far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, no, that's a non-argument. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you could partially argue that he had to go through WWE to get to AEW to do what he's been doing. But
for sure, yes.
There's no
doubt that what the people from WWE learned about on camera and all of that shit, they definitely help people because in the beginning AEW was like 80% independent wrestlers coming in that had that had zero TV
Television
time at all.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we were all
Yeah.
so excited because we were like, look at this. We're seeing people that,
So on that note, I
scratch.
listened to Jack Perry and Luchasaurus were on Talk is Jericho this week, and I listened to it. Incredible interview. Highly recommend. I watched it on YouTube because I was off that day, so I just put it on YouTube and watched it. And Jack Perry talks about that, and he talked about that he had no TV experience prior coming to AEW. And he even said when he was on the indies, when he first started the Jungle Boy character, and I thought this was hilarious, said when he first started the Jungle Boy character, the indie promoter that he worked for at the time wanted him to cut some promos with some verbiage that he just thought was really dumb, and he was kind of basically like, I don't want to do that, that's so stupid. But to get around it, he was like, if he's going to be like a Tarzan type character, he was like, my character doesn't talk. So that was how he got around avoiding doing these promos that this promoter wanted him to do that he felt was just really, really bad. So, the trade-off to that is he did not get experience talking on the microphone while he was on the indies because his character didn't talk. Coming to AEW, he had absolutely no TV experience. So that was a massive learning experience for him. And he even said, like, when he first, like, when Jericho had the Inner Circle and they were doing a thing with the Jurassic Express, like, Jericho had said something to him about cutting a promo, and Jack Perry was like, oh, no, my character doesn't talk. I don't do promos. And Jericho was like, well, you do now. Yeah. And so that's, he acknowledged that there has obviously been things that he has had to learn and improve over the years, that he knew that was a knowledge gap that he had to work on. And he spoke about the things that he's learned over the years. He spoke about, when he went away after the Punk shit went down, and how that was kind of tough for him because the wrestling world completely turned on him.
Well, he had a little bit of a problem too, wasn't he? The guy that Bully said had like an attitude with him, like in England or whatever. And
yeah, and I'm sure there's a lot of
beefs.
maturing that had to happen. But he acknowledged the fact that he did have to go through growing pains, and he did have to mature, and he's learned a lot.
Yeah.
It was an interesting interview. Highly recommend.
Sometimes somebody has so much talent, but then they don't have that maturity behind them with the business. So it catches up. It's like we hear them say that when suddenly the switch will, the
light bulb goes off.
He also gave a good shout out to Joey Janela, because he said when he was on probably the first Joey Janela spring break, he said him being on that show with Joey Janela got him noticed by the Young Bucks to bring him into AEW. So yeah, that was nice. It was a good interview. Yeah. All right, so shall we? I don't know. What topic should we cover? Should we talk about the Death Riders? Are we gonna have a Mongrovian rant here?
I'm not gonna rant on them. I'll just.
That's what we said last time.
I'm kind of where the way the way Nick and Dave what they explain it, like I'm in the middle. I'm all right. From this point, I'm like, I can handle this going on now if it turns out that Will Ospreay is infiltrating to get them all back, because at the end of the day, these motherfuckers broke his neck. Just like, and then, and I'm tired of seeing like Bryan Danielson is sitting there, calm and cool when this guy put a plastic bag and actually, tried to murder him on TV. Not Chad Gable murder, legitimately murder him.
Right.
So
It's-
I will say,
So
I will
that's it.
say, I was
Now
I was
I'm
perusing
calm.
Blue Sky the other day to kind of get a gauge for what some AEW fans.
Oh, here we go. Here
are
comes
thinking.
the hippie voice.
And there is a lot of
I call it blue
first of
cry.
all, there's for some reason people have this perception of the AEW fans on Blue Sky that it's all like rainbows and
Hippies.
unicorns and everybody loves everything. That
Yeah.
is not the case at all. There is a fair amount of debate that happens on there. But people were discussing the Death Riders, the Mox and Osprey promo segment, and I completely understand that people may have a hesitation of, we've seen storylines before that just kind of don't go anywhere, or it kind of fizzles out and we're not sure what's going on. But I will also say that as a fan who doesn't typically care to get bogged down in fantasy booking, I just like to watch the show that's presented to me. I don't do a whole lot of fantasy booking or wild speculation, because I don't know. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I've never been like that. But to me, it feels like, I watch it and I go, all right, this is interesting. I don't know where it's going. I can't predict it, but that's a good thing to me. It's a good thing to me that I can't predict specifically where it's going. To me, it's a good thing that it's something that is making people think. Like, for me personally, I don't need it to be spelled out completely in a language easy enough for a 5-year-old to understand.
No, that's totally cool. I don't mind.
To me, I like when stories make me think and make me want to figure it out and make me want to see what happens next because I'm not sure where it's going.
All right.
To me, that's more interesting. That's more interesting than when commentary gives it to you in plain language and it's programmed to be repetitive to remind the audience of every little single bullet point along the way. It's more interesting to me when it keeps us guessing and we're like, I'm not sure what's going on here, but I'm going to keep watching to find out.
Okay, so when you want, we're always comparing things to like The Godfather and good, Is he Donnie Brasco? What I mean?
It's one possibility.
That's what I mean.
It's one possibility.
But I also think that not every storyline can be boiled down to the tropes that we see in mob movies.
Yeah. No. But in a basic kind of sense, is that what he's doing? I can definitely accept that. And when
I do think it's possible that they're leading to Osprey. Osprey knows that Mox can teach him a thing or two. So it's a beneficial relationship. He's not joining the Death Riders. He's not part of the Death Riders, but it's a beneficial relationship in the sense that Osprey knows I can gain something by just putting the bullshit aside and working with him for now.
Okay, let me.
If that leads to Osprey then eventually turning on Mox, that would be interesting.
That's okay. Let me ask you one question. At the end of the day, at All In at Wembley, do you want it to be Osprey going after MJF for that world title?
Yes.
That's where I just want to see it go. Whatever he's doing now, I think it's a little extracurricular stuff with the little mini matches. I don't care how much
I think it's all going to lead up to that. I don't believe that we should not see Osprey in a match until the end of August.
That's what I'm saying. I love watching Osprey, and I would have rather been salivating to see Osprey have his first match back with somebody. I love Ace Austin. I love Blake Christian. But these kind of things are.
Seth has a good point here, and I think this is something that people have to consider. Osprey is in the Owen Hart tournament, so
he's in that too?
while Osprey is doing the thing with Mox and training to learn new techniques and methods that help prevent him from getting injured again, he's in the Owen tournament, which could be the catalyst that leads him to that championship match.
If they make it make sense, that's all I ask. And not, they don't have to do it minute by minute, week by week or anything. But at some point, give me something where I can say, all right, now I get it. Now it makes sense. Okay. And I'm willing to go along with the story however they want to do it. I'm sorry. Where they lose me, and lose me for a good amount of it, is when Moxley opens his mouth. And the psycho babble that comes out of his mouth completely takes me out of everything else that they're doing.
The man speaks in metaphors. I get it.
All right,
the man speaks in metaphors, and it can be hard to follow.
Aside from when he tickles Pac, that, because even me, the hardest critic on the fucking Death Riders, that made me fucking just chuckle. I would have spit out my coffee.
Hilarious.
Taking a sip.
I'm with everything, and I'm willing to buy in on
and
whatever they want to do.
I love his wrestling too, man. I mean, he's a friggin' big tough. That guy, that some bitch walked past me. He's a big dude. He's not tiny.
No. But just when he starts to speak,
yes,
it just, I'm like, by the time he's done, I'm like, huh?
And let's be honest. Let's be honest though. There's times where he doesn't even have to be there, and
I do get that argument. He never takes a day off. He's there all the time. I get that.
God bless him for it.
God
bless him for that. But he's still getting paid the same. Stay home for just after you lose the belt. I don't have to see you have a match the following show after a pay-per-view. That's all I'm saying. And
I get that. And I'm not saying that the whole thing was done perfectly, because obviously it wasn't. But are they allowed to have some course correction and try to figure it out along the way?
Yes, they are.
That's all I'm saying is, like, yes, we can say that things that happened in the past were confusing and didn't make sense, or there was some bumps in the road or some wrong decisions that were made. Sure. Yeah.
Let's just
allow them to try to fix it.
I'll put it this way. They are not retribution.
Or just go in a different direction. Like, they can go in a different direction. This is not the same storyline that it was a year and a half ago.
Yes.
This is a new chapter.
I'll just say it this way. I don't look at them like retribution, but I also don't look at them like the Four Horsemen. That's all I'll say. I just and like I said, I just can use a little bit less of the Death Riders with the running and this and that. Do some things that make sense, like when Marina Shafir takes off Ref Aubrey's head, even though I agree totally with it. She should be fined or suspended or you know what I mean? When stuff like that. But that's all the tightening the screws shit. I mean, we find that stuff on everything. On everything.
Nobody's perfect.
Everything.
No.
Every show. Everything.
Yeah.
And to people that say the B word about that poor independent wrestler that didn't get that move against
those
Steve Ball,
people
you're
can
assholes.
shut the fuck up and GFY.
You're assholes.
Yeah.
You can't even walk up the 3 steps without pulling a hamstring.
He's an indie wrestler that got a shot on TV. Give him some
You
grace.
assholes.
Yeah.
People are morons.
Let the kid was just trying to get his shit in, man. That's all. He a little slippery, a little sweaty. Probably had a little clammy hands. That's all.
And
the fuck.
And nothing for nothing. It was a squash match. Honestly, everybody knew what it was as soon as it came to the ring. So no harm, no foul.
It's real.
So what I think part of it is, and Dave talked about this several times on Busted Open recently. AEW does enhancement talent matches. Like, that's a long-standing kind of thing in pro wrestling. It is an enhancement match that is designed to benefit the main wrestler, the main character of the company against, someone else that's not known to the audience, that it's an enhancement match. And I think it's partially because there's a whole lot of fans that really, because maybe partially because WWE doesn't do enhancement talent matches really, because they don't bring in random indie wrestlers like that anymore. So I think a lot of people just aren't used to that. A lot of people aren't used to seeing indie wrestlers in enhancement matches.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, they're poor Viking. That's the Viking Warriors on
Well, that's another thing. But
yeah.
I'll bust the gun on that shit too. We already know WWE does not give
one more thing before we wrap up. I did want to mention
match of the week,
Darby's streak here.
Takeshita.
So if you've noticed, since Darby became champion, Darby's match has been match of the week on Busted Open since then.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yes.
I think a lot of people are kind of now coming around to realizing what the purpose and the point of Darby's championship reign is. I think it's doing great things for AEW as a whole. I posted on Twitter just a little bit ago. I found this video on Threads, and I wanted to share it on Twitter for other people to see. Someone edited, a little highlight reel of the Darby and Takeshita match, transposed along with, and I'm sure everybody's familiar with this clip of Cornette kind of talking about in very simple, I honestly love this clip of Cornette. I think it might have been from Dark Side of the Ring or some other documentary. Very simple terms saying like, oh, you're driving down the road and you see two guys fighting and there's a small guy and there's a big guy and the big guy's beating up the small guy. And you're like, holy shit, he's getting the shit kicked out of him. But then the small guy kind of rears up and starts beating the shit out of the big guy. And next thing you know, you're rooting for him. Now imagine that small guy, you know him, you like him, he's your hero. And the way it was transposed along with the highlight clips of the Darby and Takeshita match, it went along perfectly with like the essence of that match and the essence of the Darby Allin championship reign. Right. And I think there is absolutely no better perfect explanation than that. It's so simple. It's so easy. So it's just, it's interesting to me to see how this has gone and to see that finally some people are giving Darby Allin his flowers for who he is and what he does. And they were talking about it on Busted Open this morning with Mark Henry and Riccacino. He's different. He's different. He's built different. He doesn't operate under the same rules as normal human beings.
No. And that's absolutely, that's always been part of Darby's appeal. He doesn't look like a wrestler. He's a small, thin guy that seemingly is made of rubber. He certainly doesn't look like a champion.
Yeah.
Whatever look you think a champion has, he doesn't fit any of those.
Nope.
But yet here he is. Why? Because he goes out there and literally gives his body every match. You want to root for him. No matter who's in the ring with him, you're rooting for Darby because you know this guy is going to basically kill himself to win that match. And that's, fans get behind that. And for the fact that he doesn't look like a champion. He doesn't act like a champion. He's not arrogant. He's not, boastful. He's none of these things that champions of the past have been.
Right.
Look at the most recent champion AEW. He's certainly no MJF. But that's the hook. That's what's getting people interested, that this guy seemingly that is indestructible.
He is
willing to destroy himself just to be a champion.
The first time I saw him, the first time I saw him was at Evolve 123 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And that was in Queens at a little place called The Boom. And He was doing the same 6 shit.
Yeah.
Obviously not as high because they had lower ceilings, but I
Yeah,
mean,
but
he was
and
just
he hasn't.
doing, I was
he-
like, who is this guy? And him. I mean, I saw him and Swerve that night, and it was just like
but
a who's
that's
who of what we see on TV now in that one night of all the people that I saw.
and Dub's right. People are coming around to the fact that hey, this guy is a legit, credible champion. And
he's not your typical champion, and this isn't the typical championship run.
No.
But what he's doing fits the Darby Allin character. A long reign with very few matches, saving it for the pay-per-view, is not the Darby Allin character.
That's not his way. That would be wrong. That would be a waste.
Yeah, that would be wrong for him. Not everybody fits into the same tropes and the same exact formula.
And I'll give AEW all the credit for that.
On the tropes. Yes.
Well, that's but AEW does a real good job with that.
Has Mongrovian ever had a rant? Has there ever been an elder rant on Darby Allin? Ever? No. Never, right?
No.
You get it?
Yeah.
Never. I mean, the guy is how could you? He gives me what I want. You guys know my favorite type of match is the David versus Goliath match. I don't care who goes over, and as long as they tell me the story of, like Jim Cornette is saying, and it is perfect. And you're right. I've heard that clip before. I've seen the clip of Cornette saying it. But
it's brilliant.
Sounds cool. That sounds cool. I want to check out that clip.
Look at my Twitter. I posted it. I posted it a couple hours ago before we started the show. It's great. It's perfect.
Yeah. No. And that's why.
And tonight we'll see Darby go against Sammy Guevara.
Yeah, no matter how much dumb shit that man has said over the years, Cornette is still the friggin'. He's still the goat of friggin'
Yeah, he's a racist.
The wealth of knowledge.
He's obviously very smart and very knowledgeable. He just has really, really dumb opinions on some things.
Yes.
I don't think he likes the flippy guys.
Well, that's part of his racial rant.
I don't think he's too much into those matches where the guys are running, and they don't even touch each other for 10 minutes. They're just doing this.
Yeah, whatever. Whatever. All right.
No, I'm saying
anything else you wanted to mention real quick before we go, since GCW and Collision both started?
Yeah.
Yes.
And HCW is still on now.
HCW is still on.
Yeah, no.
Ring of Honor, Athena. Supercard of Honor last night was awesome.
Great show. Long Reign Athena.
Yes.
The face of
Ring of Honor.
ROH.
Athena's still champion. Deonna Purrazzo is still champion.
Yes.
AR Fox is still champion.
Fox. Yep.
Red Velvet is still champion. Don Castle and the Outrunners defeated STP for the 6-man.
I think that was the only title change last night.
Yes.
The youngest men alive.
Yes.
Bandito is still champion, and Swerve kicked the shit out of him after the match.
Afterwards.
That was interesting. Yeah, good show.
Yeah.
Good show. And the Kingdom. How could I forget?
The Kingdom. And the Kingdom. Welcome back, Kingdom.
Yes.
Little Dirty was happy.
They have to get the original Ring of Honor Kingdom theme. They have to. Come on, Tony Khan. You've been fucking us on Brass Monkey for Mike Bailey forever now. Don't fuck this up. Get fucking the original Kingdom entrance music.
Yes, I'm very, very happy to see them back. It was a very pleasant surprise last night. I loved it. I immediately thought of Dirty and Little Dirty probably jumping up and down in their living room.
And happy birthday, Mike Bennett.
On a side note, Mike Bennett can join ZZ Top. Does he play bass?
Yes.
He has the beard now. It's pretty much ZZ Top length. And
I'm very happy for Jordan Oliver and Alec Price. Getting people, like the Kingdom coming out for them in the little open challenge thing that they had.
Bust in the brain.
Yes. Awesome. All
Come a
right.
long way
Let's
from freaking Mike Kanellis.
Yeah.
oh my God, remember that? That was
Oh,
awful.
that poor man.
All right, let's bring it home. Mongrovian, how can people find you?
I'm here. Here I am.
How you
I
know?
don't know. How you know?
How you know?
How you know? You know? At Mongrovian Mike, I'm around. Just find me on Twitter. Instagram. I'm all over.
All right, John.
I'm healing up.
You can get me at John of South Jersey on the Twitter and the Instagram. And while you're perusing Instagram, you can also keep up with the exploits of the most dangerous weapon in all of professional wrestling. Of course, I'm talking about the AK9K, the Ass Kicker 9000, and you can keep up with all of his exploits at Ass Kicker 9K on Instagram.
Oh yeah.
All right, and you can follow us at Nation's Corner on Twitter, Blue Sky, on the TikTok. Tony does the TikTok thing, so I don't know what's on there. I'm not on the TikTok-y. The Nation's Corner on Instagram. You can follow me at That's So Debonair on everything. And
click the link.
Click the link. Happy Saturday. Happy wrestling.
Smoke.